Diversity means to me a respectful welcome. I believe that diversity brings us together. It crosses silos. And by sharing our differences, it makes our knowledge stronger and our voice more inclusive.
So Diversity Circles was founded based on responding to diversity and how diversity is expanding in the communities in general, but also in the post-secondary education landscape specifically. So Za, Joseph, and I co-created this project in 2015, and basically we started having conversations around the topic of diversity.
So the Diversity Circles project is based around equity within the Faculty and Staff Association. Because of my father's residential school upbringing, he was a young boy who was, 5 years old, and he was shoveling coal in the basement of a residential school in northern British Columbia. I always share that his education was taken away from him, and he did not have that opportunity to grow with an education. And my advocacy and support for students is built around that perspective. For a lot of other faculty members, their perspective is different, but just as strong.
For me, the project's really about building relationships with our entire community here at BCIT so that we can have conversations around diversity and, in this case, around the focus areas. There's all kinds of elements to it. There's elements around the events, there's the workshops, there's the pieces that we write, but really for me, it's about the relationships that we build through this process.
I came into this and realizing that we could celebrate these groups using an Indigenous framework. When we think of an Indigenous framework, we think, okay, who am I? That's where we start. What's in your heart? And that's why we're seeking staff and faculty right now to say, what are your gifts? What resonates for you? Eventually, we're going to reach out to students and ask them the same question so we can match those two groups together. And then reaching out to the extended community, the people who are stakeholders to this school, and saying, what are your gifts? And how can you be a part of celebrating diversity?
Gifts is looking at really how individuals are holding gifts within themselves that they may or may not have expressed, and providing a safe place to do that. You're then able to find not only similarities with others in a mentor relationship, but also you're able to express, the joy and happiness that comes with that.
I'd say 25 years went into this piece. There was a lot of research into digging up classic Coast Salish artwork. My tradition as a carver is to help tell this story to enough people so that on the day we raise it, they take up responsibility and can tell the stories themselves. My involvement in the logo existed already, and I was asked to add some Coast Salish elements to it. They're part of Coast Salish art, but they don't have specific meanings themselves. But to include those symbols is recognizing local First Nations, is recognizing Indigenous culture, and maybe in a more general way.
Aboriginal people talk about circles. Things happen in circles, and part of the importance of circles is that no one is ever the head of a circle. There's no particular, it's all equal. So all of us are equal around the circle, and therefore there's great respect. And as you go around that circle, you gain the knowledge by listening to people. The diversity circles to me means the many circles we have of relationships within this institution and outside this institution, and how those influence each other.
I love the metaphor of the circle. I think we are all connected. I don't think we always know that we're connected. Sometimes we don't feel connected. But when we have an opportunity to listen and hear other people speak, there's always something, I'm sure for everyone, I'm going to say, they find something like, oh, I have that, or I feel that. They're surprised that they maybe have that connection with another person. We're all connected in a similar goal here.
The Diversity Circles team had the vision to convene an interrelated array of dialogues and workshops aimed in part at generating concrete, faculty-specific ideas about catalyzing the great potential embedded in BCIT's growing diversity.
There's so many groups that I think have similar experiences with respect to maybe racism or being targeted, being threatened by violence just because of the way they identify. That needs to end. We need to come together.
We are facing some really significant global problems, and we are not going to solve those problems if we don't have all of the people with all of the perspectives there, fully engaged in solving those problems. Diversity to me is a thing that cannot be achieved without direct action in the world that we are in right now, where it is not the default.
The project has 3 pillars. So creating resources and awareness, a mentoring program, and the digital diversity map, which becomes a way of networking, which will hopefully take us way beyond the boundaries of our campuses and out into the community.
I think that Diversity Circles is a great project for BCIT because BCIT is really about accessing and bringing out everyone's potential. We do a lot of innovation work here, and our faculty and staff are very keen to be at the forefront of innovating in their fields and really reaching out to students and meeting their needs. That's what Diversity Circles is about.
I know the golden rule is treat others the way you want to be treated, and I actually believe it should be treat others the way they want to be treated, because everyone's different and everyone's got a different way that they want to live in this world, and I think if you can respect that and respect how they want to be living, to me that's diversity. It's giving that space for everyone to be who they want to be.
I think in this day and age, with all the changes that we have around us, with all the technological advancements and the type of education that students need, I think having diversity is super important. Otherwise, the institution itself won't be able to move forward and continue its adaptive capacities in being innovative and generating new ideas.
The success would be that our faculty and our staff feel very comfortable with celebrating diversity, for welcoming it, and for our students to see a place for themselves so that they feel comfortable here, they feel welcomed here.
When we increase understanding of each other, then we can have a better and more positive relationship. And when we can be more empathetic to each other, we can support each other in doing our best work.
This is something where I'm learning in such a huge way, because when I talk about women's rights, when I talk about the LGBTQI rights, when I talk about other communities, I'm learning. It's very humbling, and I'm very honored to do this.
We can only speak our own story, but we can hear the story of other people, and then we can learn and respect each other.
Then I love these spaces like Diversity Circles that gives us this opportunity to hear from these individuals and learn so much from them.
We're going to honor your gifts, and here's the champions that are at this college already who are going to lead the way.
I think, again, that we can really do almost anything as long as we're talking to each other and listening to each other. So if the legacy of this work is just to have more conversations here on campus with each other and get a chance to hear from different stories and different perspectives, that is a legacy to me that is very worthwhile.